My unfaithful wife cheated with her ex. I exposed her lies in front of the entire family by handing her the divorce papers and all the evidence. Hello Reddit I plus here. My name is Daniel Morales. I'm 45 years old, a senior professor of comparative literature at a university in Lisbon. For most of my adult life, I believed I was one of the lucky ones. I had the career I dreamed of, 2 beautiful sons, Lucas and Raphael, and a wife who seemed like the embodiment of grace and warmth. Her name was Isabela. She was 33 when we met, fresh out of dental school, with a calm, patient demeanor and a laugh that made even the most mundane moments feel special. My aunt introduced us at a family barbecue, and within a year, we were married. I thought I had won the emotional lottery. We built a life that looked idyllic from the outside. Isabela opened her own pediatric dental clinic, and I was publishing papers and mentoring graduate students. Our boys came quickly, just 18 months apart. And our home? It was filled with bedtime stories, homemade meals, weekend outings, and a kind of gentle routine that many only dream of. My colleagues envied my marriage. My students often asked me how I managed to balance work and family so well. But what they didn't know was that I was living inside a novel I would have refused to publish. One of betrayal, manipulation, and ultimate humiliation. For over a decade, I trusted Isabela with every fiber of my being. She made breakfast every morning, slipped notes into my jacket pockets, and always had time to ask about my most difficult students. We never had big fights. There was no jealousy, no possessiveness. If she said she was going out with friends from her university days, I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She had never given me a reason not to, but trust is like a mirror. Once it cracks, even if you try to piece it back together, you'll always see the fractures. It began subtly. A Tuesday, she said she'd be working late at the clinic, but I needed to check something with the insurance for our sons, so I called the front desk. She hasn't been in since Friday, the receptionist said, as if it were a normal thing. I felt my stomach twist. That night, she walked in around 9 p.m. Her eyes were red, her walk unsteady, and there was a faint, cheap wine scent clinging to her breath. Isabela never drank, ever. She smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and slumped onto the couch like nothing had happened. When I asked about her day, she gave me a rehearsed speech about tantrum-throwing children and scheduling headaches. I smiled. I even pretended to believe it. But from that moment on, the cracks started to spread. She guarded her phone like a state secret. She claimed exhaustion every time I asked if we could have dinner together. The warmth in her touch vanished. The kisses grew colder. She wasn't pulling away. She had already left. I was just too blind to see it. Then came the moment that truly woke me up. One night, she didn't realize I was behind her. She was curled up on the couch, giggling softly while texting. It wasn't a friend sending cat videos. It was the kind of laugh that came from a place of emotional intimacy. And when she noticed me, she jumped, locked her screen, and claimed it was an old friend from university. The next few weeks were a silent descent into hell. I became a detective in my own home. I tracked the times she left and returned. I noticed the subtle changes, the double-checking of her lipstick before leaving for errands, the charger she started carrying in her purse, the 3 a.m. WhatsApp activity. And then came the final snap. I had forgotten my phone at home and rushed back to get it. Isabela was in the kitchen, headphones in, laughing at something. She hadn't heard me walk in. As she removed her earbuds, I heard the audio she was listening to echo softly. He's like a robot in bed. Predictable. Boring. I swear I close my eyes and pretend it's someone else. That someone was me. That night, I didn't confront her. I couldn't. I was shattered, but I made a decision. If I was going to fall, I would drag the truth into the light with me. A few days later I found it. Her phone, left on the bed, unlocked. I had seen her use a 6-digit code before. I had it memorized. My hands trembled as I typed it in. There, buried inside her WhatsApp, was Enrique, her ex-boyfriend, the man she swore she hadn't spoken to in over 10 years. There were hundreds of messages, photos, voice notes, filthy, intimate details. Her telling him I was just a means to an end, that she wished she had waited for him, that I was safe, boring, and financially stable, but never her true love. I forwarded everything to a secure email, audios, screenshots, videos, every disgusting message. And then I put the phone back exactly where I found it. I said nothing. I played the role of the loving husband, helping with homework, folding laundry, hosting family dinners. But inside, I was dead. And what replaced me was someone cold, calculating. Then came the final insult. Our youngest son, Raphael, fell down the stairs one Saturday while she was upstairs, laughing on the phone. She didn't even hear his cries. At the hospital, the nurse mentioned, casually, that he had said, "I called mommy but she didn't come." That's when it stopped being about revenge and became about protection. I filed for divorce, and I planned the reveal. I chose Raphael's birthday party as the day to end it all. Everyone would be there. Her parents, mine, our friends, even her childhood neighbors. I prepared 2 envelopes, one with the divorce papers, the other with the evidence, neatly organized like a trial exhibit. After the cake was cut, I asked for everyone's attention. Isabela looked confused but pleased, thinking I had a surprise gift or speech. And I did. I handed the second envelope to her father. He opened it. Photos, messages, audio transcripts. His face twisted in disgust. Her mother began to cry. My parents were stunned. Guests shifted uncomfortably, and Isabela, she froze, then screamed, then cried. She knelt down, gasping for air like she was the victim, and in front of everyone she confessed she had never loved me. She had married me for security, because Enrique had been broke, and her father conditioned her inheritance on marrying a respectable man. Me. She called it a strategic decision. She admitted Enrique had always been the one. And then, as if that wasn't enough, she said it outright. I never wanted this life. I just didn't want to be poor. Her father, white with rage, looked at her and asked, "So you used my grandson as an alibi to sleep with your ex?" She said nothing. Isabela was exposed for who she truly was, a cold, calculating woman who played a role so well, not even those closest to her could see the rot underneath. I walked out that day with my sons. I filed for full custody and moved into a smaller, quieter home outside the city. She lost the clinic. Her father refused to fund her anymore. Enrique? He ghosted her the moment the scandal hit. Her perfect life crumbled just as it had been built, on lies. But for me, it was not a fall. It was a rise, a rebirth, because the day I ended her performance was the day I finally walked off her stage. After the party imploded like a live grenade, Isabela became a ghost in our house. She didn't come home that night or the night after. She vanished. No calls, no texts, nothing to the boys, not even a pathetic apology. The next time I heard her name was from a mutual friend who said she'd been staying at a hotel downtown. Rumor had it Enrique had blocked her after the party photos started circulating on social media, family members whispering about the betrayal, the lies, the confession. She had lost everything in a matter of hours. But still, I didn't feel vindicated. Not yet. Because while her life fell apart in the public eye, mine had to go on. I had to keep the boys steady, reassure them, create routine in a house that suddenly had one less parent. And Isabela? She reemerged 5 days later, hair disheveled, eyes swollen, reeking of desperation. She showed up unannounced, on our porch, wearing the same coat she'd worn to Raphael's party, mascara still stained into the fabric like war paint. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "We need to talk." I didn't flinch. "You lost that privilege when you turned our lives into a circus." "I made a mistake." "You made choices, Isabela. Don't confuse the two." She tried to push past me, claiming she had a right to see the children. I blocked the door with one hand and handed her a folder with the emergency custody order. "Temporary, but enough. You can speak to your lawyer," I said coldly. And then, the mask slipped again. "Do you think you're better than me now? Just because you exposed me? You think people will love you forever after this?" "I don't need them to love me," I said. "I just need to make sure they see you, the real you." She screamed, loud, ugly. Neighbors peeked through their windows. She threw her purse at the ground, keys and receipts scattering like confetti. "You're ruining my life." "No, Isabela. You did that all by yourself." She left. And that's when the real war began. Within a week, her lawyer contacted mine. She wanted shared custody, said she was emotionally unstable due to the stress of being publicly humiliated and needed time to heal, but claimed she was still a devoted mother. Devoted? The same woman who ignored her son's screams? Who used Raphael's school meetings as a cover to meet her lover? My attorney, a bulldog named Marta Vieira, didn't flinch. "We're going for full custody," she said. "And we're going to bury her in her own contradictions." We presented screenshots, voice recordings, a sworn statement from the pediatric nurse, and even the school's attendance system logs to prove her lies. Her defense? That she'd suffered from postpartum depression for years and was trapped in a loveless marriage. They even tried to claim I was controlling, that I isolated her, but her own messages betrayed her. "I'm only staying for the money. He's too blind to notice." That sentence was all the judge needed to see. Temporary full custody was upheld, and visitation was to be supervised. Isabela cried in court, crocodile tears, but no one, not even her lawyer, believed her anymore. The dissent word spread quickly in our circles. Her parents cut her off financially. The clinic was transferred to a new managing dentist after patient complaints piled up. One of her assistants leaked that she'd often cancel appointments and disappear midday. The truth had ignited a fire she couldn't outrun. I heard whispers that Enrique had moved to Spain with a new girlfriend. Isabela spiraled. She posted long, cryptic Instagram captions about betrayal and losing everything to find herself. She wrote vague poetry online, thinly veiled swipes at me. She even created a YouTube channel called Rebuilding Isabela, where she tried to rebrand herself as a victim of emotional neglect, but the comments weren't kind. People remembered. People saw through her act now. And then, one night, she tried one last move. I received a message from her. I want to meet. No lawyers, just us. I owe you that. A part of me hesitated, not because I missed her, but because I wanted to hear it, to see if she would finally admit the full truth when no one else was watching. We met at a public cafe. I sat down. She looked thinner, more fragile, but I didn't mistake it for innocence anymore. She reached across the table. I know I hurt you, she whispered, but I can't lose everything. Not my boys. You didn't lose them, Isabela. You gave them away the moment you chose Enrique over them. She blinked. It wasn't like that. No, don't lie. Not to me. Not anymore. There was silence. She looked around the cafe, as if waiting for someone. That's when I noticed her phone had been recording the whole time. Face down. She was trying to bait me into anger, into saying something she could use in court. I reached over, flipped the phone, stopped the recording, and slid it back to her. This is who you are now? A desperate actress trying to record her own villain origin story? She said nothing. I got up and walked out. I never looked back. Today, I live in a quieter house, but a freer one. Lucas and Raphael are thriving. We talk, we laugh, we heal, together. Isabela still has supervised visits every other weekend, but she arrives late. Often cancels. Sometimes doesn't come at all. The boys stopped asking why. They've made peace with the truth. And me? I've started writing again. Not just academic pieces, but real stories. Stories of masks cracking, of quiet men finding their voices, of liars falling by the weight of their own deception. Because in the end, this wasn't a revenge story. It was a resurrection.